Welcome to CURES, the streaming show and podcast. I'm Kara Sundlin. Thank you for being here. This episode is sponsored by the Centers for Advanced Reproductive Services. So, big question, can taking probiotics really help you lose weight? There are so many ads on the internet out there that say yes. So I'm joined by Naturopathic Dr. Artemis Morris, who's going to help us separate some fact from fiction before you go and buy another supplement. Thanks for being with us, Doc.
Always a pleasure, Kara.
Now,
Great to be here.
Thank you for having. Yeah, we're so happy to have you. You certainly have mentioned probiotics as an important supplement for a lot of people. You've even put it in your foundational four of things that we should take. But are probiotics really a solution for weight loss? Is there any science to that?
It's a wonderful question, and there is a lot of marketing out there. And the answer is yes and no. So our microbiome is a very important part of our system, and it's actually more genetic material in our microbes, especially our gut microbes, than there are human cells. So weight loss, metabolism, this is one of the important things that our microbiome does, and probiotics are one type of microorganism that can affect metabolism in a positive direction.
I've been seeing so many ads on social media, and a lot of them have really good reviews saying, oh my gosh, I'm back to the weight I was in 20 years ago. And all I did is start taking these probiotics, especially ones with something called akkermansia, if I'm saying that right. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it sounds like a disease. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly either, but Akkermansia mucinophilia. And Akkermansia is actually a microorganism. So we have prebiotics, which are things that are found in food, especially high fiber foods like berries and pomegranates and asparagus. And then those act as food for probiotics. Probiotics are lactobacillus. It's like the yogurt, it's things found in kefir, fermented foods. And then we have microorganisms like this Akkermansia, and it kind of is working like a prebiotic. And there are some good studies out there showing that it is tied into helping with metabolism. Some studies showing that, when they did animal studies on it, and some okay human studies, that it can help with weight loss, help with lowering cholesterol, help with liver function. The problem is that there are also a lot of difficulties in knowing what strain is right for what person, because about 50% of those genes, those millions of genes that compose who we are as our microbiome, is unique to us. So there is good research, but we are not at the point yet where we can say this is the one to take for everyone.
So if you want to try a probiotic to help you lose weight, you're not saying that's crazy, but how would we know which one to choose?
So the best way to find out which one to choose is to get your microbiome tested and go see a naturopathic doctor or integrated practitioner who could specifically tell you, oh, you're low in this organism or Firmicutes. But really the reason why probiotics, prebiotics, and there's good research now on some of these other microorganisms like the Akkermansia mucinophilia, which helps to protect our gut. The reason why these things can help with weight loss, because when we think about it, just common sense wise, our gut health is going to determine how those calories that we take in from food, how they're processed. So whether they help us to lose weight or to gain weight. So definitely our gut bacteria, absolutely essential for regulating our metabolism. So when it comes to choosing, the best way to do it is to really go to someone who knows what kind of issues you're having, because specific organisms are better for, helping with irritable bowel syndrome or helping with hormone issues. And we could even test the stool to find out specifically. But you can also go out and get a very good quality general broad spectrum probiotic. I would recommend a broad spectrum probiotic to start, because there are some studies showing that even that Akkermansia it's not great for everyone. And there's some studies showing some negative effects of having high levels of that in some chronic inflammatory diseases. So it's not just everyone take this and you'll lose weight. There's a lot more that goes into specifically finding what's right for you.
Okay, so just specifically acromantia, if people are going, I've never heard of that, you might have heard some of the brand names that are out there that I'm seeing in my feeds. Pendulum is the probiotic that's really marketing, saying that they've got clinical research. There's a few others out there that all look like they're legitimate as far as there's a lot of smart minds behind it, big research institutions. But what you're saying is it's not one size fits all for everyone, but probiotics can be helpful.
Yes, so definitely probiotics, prebiotics, and certain microorganisms. It's an exciting new field of research that can have some benefits, but don't waste your money on marketing. You know, a lot of the marketing does not reflect what each individual needs, and a personalized recommendation is going to be number one, the safest and most effective. And also, one thing that I think is important for me as a physician that specializes in integrative medicine, that, nutritional supplements, nutrition, herbal medicine has been part of my medical education since day one over 20 years ago. It's also important for me to think about the integrity of the company. So, be careful with marketing, because marketing is designed to hook you in and have you buy something. And that might not be the right thing. And there are studies showing that particular vitamins and minerals and probiotics may not have the numbers that they say they do. So you can pick up a supplement off the shelf. Like, the ones that I use are specifically particular supplement companies that only sell through physicians, because they know how important it is to target and personalize the recommendations. But you might end up with a supplement that has nothing in it. You might end up with a supplement that could even be harmful. So,
right.
So you really have to be careful about that.
And I think we want to encourage, of course, Artemis Wellness Center is here in Connecticut, and I know you do consultations, in person or virtually. But let's just say someone's going to get something at the store. Because for some people that's going to be a barrier maybe to go to an integrative physician right now, but they want to do something. And you said look for a broad spectrum. Are there any brands out there, like say at a Whole Foods or a better store, that you'd be okay with, or you would at least steer people to if they are listening to this and they're like, I'll go get one, but I want to make sure I'm getting an okay one?
So, Kara, you know how much I want to give you a very simple, easy answer, like a bullet answer, like this is the one. But, I can't say, the reason why I can't say go get this brand or get this brand is because, similar to food, something that sits on the shelf and is not being taken care of, exposed to heat and light, you don't know what happens to that product, similar to food, once it gets off the market. So, I would look for it, but there are some things you can look for if you're looking at an ingredient label. So number one, go to a naturopath or an integrative physician. You're going to be guaranteed to get a good quality, something personalized, something that actually has live organisms in it, because there are studies where they take it off the shelf and find there's nothing in it, and even expired things can be in it.
Yeah.
But you want to look at the ingredients label. So what you could do is grab something off the shelf, look at the supplement facts, see how many microorganisms are in there. So you want like 1 billion would be good, because we have 100 trillion microorganisms. So like that 1 billion number would be good. The other thing you want to look at is like what specific types of microorganisms are in there. And a good broad spectrum will have a lactobacillus, it'll have bifidobacteria, and it may have a lot of different lactobacilli, and some of those are really good for anxiety. Some of those are really good for gut health. And this is where, if gut health is your issue, you may need something that's a little bit more specific. And then the acromantii, I mean, it's wishful thinking at this point that we have a magic bullet, because like I said, the being able to really take these microorganisms, keep them shelf stable, put them in a capsule is very difficult. And we don't know yet who benefits from what. But we do know, here's something that's very empowering too, is that we do know that certain dietary recommendations will stimulate that acromantii. So save your money on the supplement and eat raspberries, pomegranates, blueberries, you're going to not only save money, but you're actually going to be eating a healthy diet that goes a much longer way than taking a capsule of a probiotic and thinking, oh, this is my magic bullet.
Yeah, so
So that's my best
yeah,
recommendation.
so let's talk about that. Some of the foods, actually, some of the ones you mentioned are probably really good for the holidays. But if we want to try to gear our gut toward weight loss, what are some of the foods we should be eating?
So some of the foods we should be eating are definitely, foods very common on a healthy, especially low carb Mediterranean diet, which is a whole foods diet. It's a diet of our ancestors. And basically, the types of foods that are prebiotics that stimulate organisms like lactobacilli, bifido, and akkermansia. And there was a study done with Italy and France that found that Mediterranean diet actually increased the akkermansia particular microorganism, which there's been some really interesting studies on for weight loss and for metabolism. So those are foods like cranberries. So I know we're done with Thanksgiving, but maybe bust out
They're
the
good for
cranberry
Christmas too.
again. Yep, that's right. Why not? Raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. Get organic. Look at the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 to make sure you're getting one that are really good. Even looking at things like walnuts can be helpful. Green tea has been shown to help with weight loss, even in its own right. And it also is high in things called epigallococexin, which is antioxidants. So the polyphenols, like antioxidants in these, are really good. Pomegranates are wonderful as well. So these are the foods that you're going to actually naturally stimulate the good bacteria in your gut while you eat it. Yeah, so that would be the best thing to do. And olive oil actually is a polyphenol too, but particularly those foods that we mentioned would be helpful.
So let's say you want to try the probiotic, because we've certainly done plenty of stories with you that they are good. They just might not be the magic bullet for weight loss, but they could help if we're doing the right thing. Let's say you want to try it. How long do you need to take something like that before it's effective or you notice the difference?
That is such a great question, Kara. I love that question. And, there isn't a simple answer for that either, because it depends on our microbiome. Like I mentioned, there are 100 trillion of these microorganisms, and they can change within less than 24 hours. Like our diet changes it, our stress changes it, our hormones change it. And so when it comes to how long to take something, one influence is how we grew up, is like where we have vaginal birth versus a C-section. Our first 7 years, how many antibiotics we've taken. So absolutely take a probiotic if you're on an antibiotic or have just taken one, and take it away from the antibiotic. So absolutely, like there's some times in our life we absolutely should take a probiotic to prevent the side effects of the bacteria, the bad bacteria kind of raising up after taking an antibiotic. And so in general, I would say for most people who are generally healthy, a month is a good period of time to try a probiotic. And that has the lactobacillus, the bifido. If you wanted to try some of the fancier ones, again, it's like, try it. You might waste your money. You might feel better. But the dietary change are the ones that are actually going to show the long-term benefits. So the probiotics, depending on how much you need, a month might do something. A month might not do anything. For some of my patients that have chronic inflammatory bowel diseases, we need very high dose probiotics, and we need them long term. So it really depends on how healthy you are and how your gut microbiome is.
Okay, I'm seeing, and again, I know you want us to be careful in marketing. I'm seeing a lot of the ones that are marketed to weight loss saying they want you to take it for at least 3 months, and then it's a money back guarantee. But they think it takes at least 3 months to really, I don't know, get to that new microbiome that's going to effectively process fat better.
Yeah, we really don't have the research on that. So a lot of the
Okay.
studies, we'd have to look back at those clinical studies and say what period of time. But there some of those studies, especially on the Ackerman side, they have some positive benefits, but there's also some some negative effects that they've seen in correlating high akkermansia with certain chronic inflammatory diseases. So 1 to 3 months is a really reasonable period of time to think
Okay.
about it, but at least a month. You definitely need at least a month to try a probiotic. to see if it's going to do anything. But you also want to keep in mind that if you're changing your diet along with it, you're going to have a much more effective plan. And even with the Mediterranean detox program that we do, it's an 8-day program, but there's a month worth of probiotics in it
Right.
as something to help shift.
And that is just, we'll make sure we post this online. You can follow me on social media and all, but you do that seasonally, and there's another Mediterranean detox coming up after the holidays in January. So I know a lot of people always say, oh, I missed it, I want to do it again. Coming up, it's an 8-day reset. I've done it many times. I think it's really great. Let me just get your final thoughts. If you could put it in a nutshell for us. Final thoughts on probiotics and weight loss.
So you are what you eat, and you're also what you're taking in. So probiotics for weight loss, yes, they can be helpful. Certain microorganisms, yes. But the most important thing to remember is it needs to be personalized. So, notice how you feel and see if it makes a difference, but make sure you look for quality. Otherwise, you're going to waste your money.
Okay. And just before we let you go here, you mentioned testing, and you need to do that through a naturopath or another integrative physician. But what is the testing you would do for your microbiome?
So the testing is through stool samples. So this is the fecal sample because a large percentage of our microbiome is found in our gut. And so the probiotics, the prebiotics, and this what's happening is happening a lot in our gut. And so this is where even the Ackermans say the reason why they showed benefit is because it helps with the protect against leaky gut. And so this is why we are what we eat. We really need to be careful there. So looking at that, really that's kind of where
Okay.
everything is happening. So we really want to support that.
All right, not something that you're usually given at your regular doc, but interesting. So you can actually get it tested and get a good report. Of course, I want to let everyone know you're at the ArtemisWellnessCenter.com. I know there's a link to a lot of supplements that you do recommend through your website. And so we appreciate your time and separating fact from fiction, Dr. Morris.
I'm sorry I can't give you any easy answers, but personalization is key, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share this information with you, Kara. You're wonderful. Big fan.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm happy to have you. And I think before people spend all their money, it's good for them to know, at least from the doctor's perspective, the real science behind this, because there's a lot of marketing out there. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if you want more information on the cutting edge of wellness, you can follow me at Kara Sundlin. I love to share this information there, and join our Facebook group at Kara's Cures. Have a great day, everyone, and be well.